Welcome to the Real Crime Diary Daily Dose of Crime. Today, we delve into a case that shocked a quiet Oklahoma town and left investigators baffled. What happens when a seemingly simple missing person case turns into a horrifying tale of murder and cannibalism? Brace yourselves for a story that will challenge your understanding of human nature and the depths of depravity that can lurk behind the facade of normalcy. It was a quiet April day in 2006 when the unthinkable happened in Purcell, Oklahoma. 10-year-old Jamie Rose Bolin vanished from her apartment complex, leaving her family and community in shock. Within hours, an Amber Alert was issued and the search began. The tight-knit community of Purcell sprang into action. Volunteers combed the streets, knocking on doors and searching every nook and cranny of the town. Police officers worked tirelessly, following up on every lead, no matter how small. As days passed, the anxiety grew. Where could Jamie be? Who could have taken her? The residents of Purcell asked themselves these questions as they continued their relentless search. Little did they know the answer to their questions was hiding in plain sight. The person responsible for Jamie's disappearance wasn't a stranger who had come to town. It wasn't someone passing through. It was someone they saw every day, someone who lived just steps away from Jamie's own home. The perpetrator was right under their noses, watching as the community searched, listened as they asked questions, and even participated in the search efforts himself. This seemingly ordinary neighbor harbored a dark secret that would soon shock the nation and change Purcell forever. The search for Jamie Rose Bolin came to a horrifying end on April 17, 2006. What started as a desperate community effort to find a missing 10-year-old girl culminated in a discovery that would shake the town of Purcell to its core. Kevin Ray Underwood, Jamie's neighbor in the same apartment complex, became the focus of the investigation. During a routine traffic checkpoint, Underwood made a chilling admission that Jamie was his neighbor, raising immediate suspicions. The next day, an FBI agent visited Underwood's apartment. What they found inside would haunt investigators for years to come. In a closet, they discovered a large plastic tub sealed with duct tape. Visible through the container was Jamie's blue shirt. Faced with this damning evidence, Underwood uttered the words that would seal his fate. "Go ahead and arrest me. She is in there. I chopped her up." The grisly scene that unfolded in that small apartment was beyond anything the seasoned law enforcement officers had ever encountered. It wasn't just a case of murder. It was a glimpse into the darkest recesses of human depravity. As the investigation unfolded, the true nature of Underwood's crime became clear, and it was far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. Purcell Police Chief David Tompkins revealed the horrifying extent of Underwood's plans. This wasn't just a case of murder. It was the culmination of a sadistic fantasy that had been brewing in Underwood's mind. According to Chief Tompkins, Underwood's ultimate goal was to kidnap a person, rape them, torture them, and then kill them. But the horror didn't stop there. His twisted fantasy included decapitating the victim, draining the body of blood, and then engaging in necrophilia with the corpse. As if this wasn't horrific enough, Underwood planned to eat the corpse and dispose of the organs and bones. The crime scene painted a picture of unimaginable horror. Investigators found meat tenderizer and barbecue skewers, which they believed were intended for use on Jamie's body. These gruesome details sent shockwaves through the community and left even seasoned law enforcement officials deeply disturbed. Underwood's confession and the evidence found at the scene revealed a level of depravity that was hard to comprehend. It wasn't just the act of murder that was shocking, but the meticulous planning and the extent of the intended violence that truly horrified those involved in the case. 2 years after Jamie Rose Bolin's brutal murder, Kevin Ray Underwood finally faced justice in a courtroom. The trial, which began on February 29, 2008, laid bare the full extent of his heinous crimes. As the prosecution presented their case, the jury was confronted with gruesome details that left little room for doubt. Underwood's defense team attempted to use mental illness as a mitigating factor. They argued that he suffered from schizotypal personality disorder, later changing their claim to Asperger syndrome. However, these attempts to sway the jury proved futile in the face of overwhelming evidence. After hearing all the testimony and examining the evidence, the jury took little time to reach their verdict. On March 7, 2008, they found Underwood guilty of first-degree murder. But the trial wasn't over yet. The jury then had to decide on the appropriate punishment. Given the nature of the crime, the prosecution pushed for the death penalty. The jury agreed. recommending capital punishment for Underwood. On April 3, 2008, Judge Candace Blaylock made it official, sentencing Kevin Ray Underwood to death for the murder of Jamie Rose Bolin. The path to Kevin Ray Underwood's execution has been a long and winding one, fraught with legal challenges and delays. Initially, Underwood was among 25 death row inmates scheduled for execution in Oklahoma on July 1, 2022. His original execution date was set for December 7, 2023, but this was not to be. The Attorney General, Gentner Drummond, requested a change in the execution schedule, asking for 60 days between executions instead of 30. This was done to alleviate the burden on Department of Corrections personnel. As a result, Underwood's execution was postponed. Now, after multiple delays, Underwood's execution has been rescheduled for December 19, 2024. In a twist of fate, this date also happens to be Underwood's 45th birthday. The day of reckoning approaches, nearly 2 decades after his heinous crime. However, the legal battles are not over yet. Underwood is currently challenging the state's method of execution, with the case now before the Oklahoma Supreme Court. This could potentially lead to further delays or complications in carrying out the sentence. For Jamie Rose Bolin's family, this prolonged process has been an emotional roller coaster. They've had to relive the trauma of their loss with each new development in the case. The long wait for justice has been, in the words of Jamie's aunt, a long time coming. The murder of Jamie Rose Bolin didn't just end a young life. It shattered the sense of security in Purcell, Oklahoma. This quiet town, once known for its tight-knit community, suddenly found itself thrust into the national spotlight for the most horrific reasons. Neighbors who had lived side by side for years now looked at each other with suspicion and fear. Parents held their children closer, and doors that were once left unlocked were now bolted shut. For Jamie's family, the pain has been unimaginable. They've endured nearly 2 decades of grief, anger, and frustration as they've waited for justice. Each court hearing, each appeal, each delay in the execution process has reopened wounds that never fully healed. Their lives have been forever altered, marked by the absence of a little girl who should have grown up, graduated, and perhaps started a family of her own. The case also left a lasting impact on the investigators and first responders involved. Many have spoken about the nightmares that followed, the inability to shake the horrific images they encountered. It's a stark reminder of the toll that such heinous crimes take on all those involved in bringing justice to the victims. As we wrap up this chilling episode, we're left grappling with profound questions about the nature of evil and the effectiveness of our justice system. The case of Jamie Rose Bolin and Kevin Ray Underwood forces us to confront the darkest corners of human behavior and ask ourselves, could this tragedy have been prevented? What signs, if any, were missed? How can we better protect the vulnerable members of our society? These are complex issues without easy answers, but they're crucial conversations we must have. I encourage you to share your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section. Your insights could spark important discussions and perhaps even contribute to preventing future tragedies. If you found this episode thought-provoking, don't forget to subscribe to The Real Crime Diary, Daily Dose of Crime. We'll continue to bring you in-depth examinations of true crime cases that challenge our understanding of human nature and the world around us. Until next time, stay safe and stay vigilant. Power, Pleasure, and Pain. A Study of Abuse Through Time. This book provides a detailed examination of how sexual violence and power dynamics have manifested across different historical periods, from ancient civilizations to the modern era. It explores how figures in positions of power used their influence to manipulate and exploit others, showing that the patterns of abuse we see today have deep historical roots. Many people struggle to grasp why abuse of power, particularly sexual violence, persists in modern society. By connecting historical events with contemporary cases, the book offers crucial insights into why such behaviors remain prevalent. The book analyzes infamous cases such as those of Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and Dominique Pellicotte, drawing parallels between them and historical figures. This section highlights how the systemic abuse seen in recent times is not a new phenomenon, but part of an ongoing cultural issue. Through the lens of these modern examples, readers will gain a better understanding of how institutions, wealth, and power have historically shielded perpetrators from justice contributing to their ability to continue harming others. The book explores the philosophy of libertarianism, particularly through the works of Marquis de Sade, to explain the disturbing ways in which pleasure, power, and cruelty have been intertwined. This provides readers with a deeper philosophical context to interpret modern-day scandals. Unlike other studies that focus solely on historical or contemporary cases, this book uniquely blends both, offering a full spectrum of how abuse is tied to power dynamics. It stands out by making philosophical connections that help readers understand the deeper societal issues at play.